What a huge responsibility to be ending this wonderful design week. The subject I'm going to bring today, it's very simple, at the same time very important at the design process, because it's a key component in launching a great digital product, which is user testing. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Kathleen Bruno. I'm a product designer working for Avenue Code since August last year. I currently live in Curitiba, the coldest capital of Brazil, but I am a little nomad. I've already lived in Búzios, Rio de Janeiro, in Tubarão, Santa Catarina, in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, and Orlando, Florida. I'm married, proud of 2 little kids, Noah and Nyla, and recently a golden retriever puppy named Akin, who is doing a mess right now. So if you listen to any noises, it's because of him. So organizations that are investing in user-centered design are outperforming their competitors and seeing far great return of investment. And this is because poor user experience is one of the key factors that could negatively impact any type of businesses. It doesn't matter if it's a small business, an online business, startups, whatever it is. When you have a poor user experience, it will always affect your business. I don't know if you knew that, but the attention span of the average user today is just 8 seconds. And this, compared to 2 decades ago, was 15 seconds. What this means is that a user with attention span of a few seconds, just like this dog, just like my dog, just like anyone else, could get easily annoyed by poor usability and therefore click away without giving your product a second chance. But what is usability? That's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit today. We will focus on why usability testing is an essential part of driving value in product design. But before diving into those practical aspects of usability testing, I think it's important for us to define what is usability. So I'd like you all to interact with me on the chat very quickly and answer what is the app that you enjoy using the most. So maybe you could think of an e-commerce, or maybe a social media, maybe a news portal, maybe an online banking account. Try to think which one you use that doesn't make you feel frustrated while you navigate on it, or an app that pleases you either visually or by easy to find features. Try to think some of the apps that you enjoy using in your everyday. Behance, I like Behance too. Calm app, nice. Waze, I agree with that. Waze. TikTok. TikTok was elected one of the best ones, in fact. Notion, I love Notion too. Uber, Meditopia, I don't know how to say that. Sleep Cycle, nice, Guilherme. All right. Okay, so probably all of those apps that you have mentioned have something in common, which is a good usability. So usability is defined as a quality attribute that assesses how easy user interfaces are to use. So it could also refer to methods for improving ease of use during the design process. And usability is a multi-layer term. Are you all seeing my screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Usability is a multi-layer term generally defined by 5 main characteristics, which I'm going to explain to you very briefly in a moment. So the first one is effectiveness. much of the effectiveness of a product comes from the support provided to users. So for example, when you fix a credit card field, so it will only accept a valid credit card number on it, or if it's a date field, it only accepts date entries and stuff like that. So how accurately can users complete the required actions? This is one of the layers of the usability. The other one is about efficiency. So how quickly could users achieve their goals? And for this one, I use the example of Waze, because usually you're driving, you have to be fast. And efficiency talks about how fast can the user get the job done. So usually you have to pay attention on the number of steps or clicks or keystrokes that the user has to do, their actions, and think if this could be reduced. Or also use clearly labeled navigation buttons or shortcuts like Ctrl-Z, for example, or any type of other shortcuts that could help. Another layer is about engagement. So how pleasant is the product to use, or if the design feels appropriate. So for example, if you're designing something similar to Tinder, you should have more, I don't know, a different type of design than something related to health, for example. So engagement is not only about looking nice, but it's also about looking right. Proper layouts, readable typography, easy of navigation, they all come together to deliver the right interaction for the user and make it engaging. TikTok, Instagram, even Netflix does that very good, do that very well. And because they want you to spend as much time as possible navigating on their apps. Another one is error tolerance. So how often do errors occur, for example, or how easy is it for users to solve those errors or recover from them? I brought here the example of our Engage app, where when you're gonna submit your week, it asks you, are you sure you wanna do that? Because you wanted to ensure that a user can usually recover from an error or get back to something that they were doing. It's important to restrict the user to do something wrong, or even offer the opportunity to redo or undo some action, like or Ctrl-Z on a lot of different softwares that we use. And the last one is about easy of learning. So how easily can new users learn to use the product, or how easily can they remember how to use it? I brought here the example of WhatsApp, because even the elderly can use it very well, right? Maybe they use it too much sometimes. And when we think about ease of learning, we also have to think about new functionalities or new features. Otherwise, a happy user may quickly become frustrated with your latest release. So if you remember, usually Facebook or any other social apps, when they release new features, they even let you use the latest, the previous version, because you didn't like the new one, for example. And those are all aspects of usability too. While the user feedback may not always be positive, it will always make your product better. So usability studies, they could take place at any type of the design process, but the most common is to conduct it before the product launches, so you can get a better feedback without much risk or even much cost. 85% of the issues, I don't know if you know that information, I know the designers do, but the other ones here, 85% of the issues related to usability could be detected by performing a usability test on a group of just 5 users. So it's only 5. We don't have any excuse for not performing a usability test. Here I'm gonna explain to you a little bit about the benefits of usability testing. So the first one is error correction, because a user testing will show you exactly which parts of your design could frustrate people or where they get confused. And they will give you a feedback from your users, so you can fix those issues quickly and efficiently. The other one is about time savings, because when you find out those errors, especially in the early stages, as we were talking about, this will move you in the right direction without wasting time or even fixing failed versions. Another aspect that is very important is about removing bias. As I said before, you're going to listen the truth, nothing but the truth. Because sometimes when we design a prototype, or even our stakeholders, we are held to that idea, and we think it's the most perfect one. But when we actually speak to users, sometimes we find out very good. We have very good discoveries about that. The other one is about improving conversion rates, because it's easier to double your conversion rates than it is to double your traffic, and it's a lot cheaper too. Another benefit is about improving NPS scores, because you're going to work on the right problems, and as a result, this will improve the experience of your user. Reduce support requests and meet your business goals, because you can use this perspective to gain a competitive advantage when you adjust your strategy and focus on features that are actually valuable to your user needs. But from all of them, I think the one that our stakeholders think is the most important is about cost savings. Because fixing a problem in development costs 10 times as fixing it in design, and 100 times if you're trying to fix after the product was released already. Those are some types of usability testings that we could do. Like, it could either be remote or in person, or moderated or unmoderated. But there is plenty of different methods that we could use, different types of usability testing, like video interviews, lab usability testings, guerrilla testing, observation or shadowing, session recordings. Doesn't matter. Well, of course it matters, but I mean, it doesn't matter the method you're going to choose. What is important is to test. And as we said before, it's important to test at least with 5 people. But regardless usability testing type you're going to choose to use, a few things will remain the same. So you're going to have tasks, script, and participants. With tasks, I mean like actions that a real user might perform in your product. For example, like entering an address, placing an order, or making a reservation in a flight ticket platform or something like that. Script, which is about performing the same task in the same order to all the participants in order to replicate the same study environment, because consistency is very important in a user test. And the last one, but not like Poliana says, last but not least, the participants that should be representative of the product's target users and aligned with your personas that were created earlier in the design process. And it's very, very, very important to consider accessibility, because this will ensure that all of your potential users, including people with disabilities, will have access to your app and all the information. And every time you implement accessibility best practices, you are also improving the usability of the site for all of your users. Okay, let me just show you something. And hold on. Not working? Peraí, quem sabe faz ao vivo. You're not listening to it, are you? I don't know what's happening. Hold on.
I can't hear this. I can't. I didn't.
Peraí. Let me stop and do it again.
First task, Okay. What I want you to do is browse through the shoe options on the site and pick out the one that you're most interested in.
Are you seeing my screen?
As you go,
Right?
just speak out loud about what you're thinking, what you like, what you dislike.
We are
anything
not
else
seeing
that
your
you-
screen, but we can hear you now.
Okay. So,
Peraí.
what are these guys?
Shut up. Sorry. Let me do that again. Sorry about that.
Problem, dear. It happens with the best person.
Yeah. Not the best, but it happens, right?
The bestest. Yeah.
Tech sometimes do that to us.
Okay, let me see if that will do now. Come on, just work.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going
We're gonna get some feedback on their website today.
And
And let's start with the first task.
What I want you to
Okay. What I
do
want you
is
to do is
browse through the
browse
shoe
through the
options on
shoe
the
options.
site and pick out the one that you're most interested in.
Okay.
And as you go, just speak out loud about what you're thinking, what you like, what you dislike, anything at all that's going through your head.
Sounds good. Okay, so I mean, I've heard of these guys before. Obviously, like I own a pair of their shoes, so right up here, I can see there's men, women, new arrivals. So if I'm looking, you said browse their shoes specifically, none of their other apparel. So I can see a list of their shoes here. They got running shoes, everyday sneakers, slip-on, and boat shoes. So I love slip-ons and shoes and shoes like that. So I'm going to go ahead and look at their slip-ons.
Okay.
Oh, I really like the wool loungers. I live in a place that's kind of cold. These look super comfy. I also really like their funky colors.
Okay.
So they got this white one in my size. I'm just going to go ahead and add that to cart.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 7, how difficult or easy did you find that task? Where 1 is very difficult and 7 is very easy.
I definitely give that a 7. That was super easy.
Okay.
Okay, could you all hear well?
Yes.
After that? Okay.
Yes.
Let me go to the other one. No, not again. Ah! Okay, last one. Okay, so this was a very smooth task. It's not necessarily like that all the time. Sometimes your user can't find the feature you ask them to search for. Sometimes they can't understand your product. This one's was a very easy one and a very good one. But sometimes things could happen. Sometimes the user could even have some trouble with the computer itself, like they don't know how to share the screen or the presentation doesn't work, like happened with me. But all of the things could happen, and that's why it's so important to test with the user, because sometimes something is obvious for us, but it's not necessarily for them. But from everything that I said, what I would like you to remember about user testing, like to sum up all of this, so you will never forget why user testing is important, are all of those 3 topics. Discover areas of potential confusion and eliminate them. Determine if the users understand your product and find it easy to operate. And reduce building something that actually doesn't meet your users' needs. That's it. I think I rushed a little bit, but as I said, it was a base topic, but very important on the design process. And I'm open to any questions you might have about it. Thank you.
Thank you. It was
the
great.
presentation. Sorry. To interrupt someone.
I was just saying that was great. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you. Sorry about the little problem there.
No, tech does that, as I've said to us sometimes. And people, feel free to ask here if you want to open your mic or microphone, or just put in the chat as well. We have some time to answer some questions. When you check here,
You
someone?
see, if I were doing usability testing with Google Google Slides, I would fail that task because I didn't know how to share with the audio when I was presenting. Go ahead, Leila.
First of all, you rock, Kathleen. And then tell me about what is the difficult, if you have this difficult to keep these notes, for example, while you are doing user tests and things like that, because in this example, the participant is speaking so fast and things like that. So how did you do your notes?
Right now, at the client where I work at, we usually ask them to record the test, because this way we could watch it over again and make all the notes possible. So usually what I do while I'm doing a usability test, I do write stuff, but we try always having someone else to help us on the process. But I've done that before by myself too, because no one from the team was available. And what I did was ask them to record with their permission, of course. And by that, I would watch it over again so I could make, do a refinement on my notes. Because sometimes when you're actually talking to someone, you can write everything down. It's very important to have those recordings so you can watch it over. And if you were by yourself and maybe they didn't allow you to record, then definitely it would be good to use like notes that you could understand later, even like shortcuts on your notes so you understand what was said, but without missing out important things about the user testing.